Hi there, my name's Dr. Angie Mullins, and this is an abbreviated version of the talk that I gave at Red Hill School on the 9th of May. During this video, I'm going to take you on a little journey into the future. I'm going to share a couple of potential things that we might experience over the next few years. Obviously, no one can tell the future, but this information is based on research that is done by a number of really brilliant futurists who spend a lot of time extrapolating information and looking at where we might end up. Obviously, these are not eventualities, but rather possibilities, and they are really not designed to scare you or make you anxious about the future, but rather to equip you with information and knowledge that you can use to prepare not only yourself but your child for this future that's going to be quite different to what we are experiencing right now. I'm going to begin by sharing this timeline with you. As you can see, there are going to be some big changes over the next few years. Some of the more significant events that we will come across are obviously the completion of the human genome, which allows for substantial gene editing. There'll be amazing medical advancements, and earlier diagnosis will lead to earlier treatment and much better survival rates. One of the predictions I find quite scary is that by 2030, depression is going to be our #1 global disease burden. We're already seeing the start of this as a school, and it's something that we really do need to address as teachers, as parents, and help our students. This is a stat that we don't want to come true. We want our children to be happy and healthy, and we need to start working on this now. One of the advancements that will have an enormous impact on us is when computers begin to autonomously learn and create new information. I'll talk a little more to the impact of that a bit later in this presentation. We'll slowly start exploring more of our universe and move beyond our Earth, and eventually our global population will reach 9 billion people. The reason I decided to end this little journey into the future in 2037 is because that is when our youngest current Red Hillians, our little KG1s, will eventually matriculate. I know a lot of these predictions sound like they come straight out of a sci-fi novel, but if I may, I'd like to share a personal experience that I had that really drove home just how quickly the world can change. I hold a PhD in future-focused education, and I wrote up my proposal for my project in 2018. Right on the very front page of my proposal, I included this little quote that you can see below, and that talks to pandemic diseases as being one of the problems students of the future will need to deal with. I then did my case study in 2019 and was amazed rereading my proposal in 2020 when I was busy writing up my PhD while stuck in lockdown. I think obviously COVID was a big reminder of just how suddenly and abruptly the world can change, but then also how quickly we can bounce back from that. Another event that I didn't necessarily expect to see in my lifetime is the release of these massive open source AI models such as ChatGPT-3. I think that this sort of technology will continue to have a profound impact on our futures, and it's very exciting to see where it leads next. I'd like to turn my attention now to 3 things that are having a serious impact on the way that we educate students and prepare them for the future. The first of these is the idea of exponential knowledge doubling. If we look at the quantity of knowledge we as the human race have accumulated over time, we'll find that this amount of global knowledge doubled roughly every 100 years up until the 1900s. During the 20th century, we saw the global knowledge double roughly every 25 years. And as we moved into the 21st century, we began experiencing a knowledge doubling every 10 years, then every 5 years, then every 2 years. Currently, in 2023, Our global knowledge doubles roughly every 13 months, and it's anticipated that when we reach that little break that I mentioned earlier when we were looking at our timeline, and computers can begin autonomously learning and creating their own knowledge, that we'll experience a knowledge doubling roughly every 12 hours. This means that the volume of information out there will just be more than anything that we can even fathom. A lot of this information will also be inaccurate at best and purposefully designed to mislead us at worst. So it's really important that we begin developing the skills to decipher what information is accurate and helpful. Another big impact we will see is a change in the world of work. These statistics predict that we will see numerous jobs automated out of existence over the next few years. These jobs will obviously be replaced by new and exciting jobs that we don't even know about yet, but unemployment is going to be a major issue in the future. Another factor that we need to consider is just how long we are going to live for. As you saw in the timeline, there are going to be incredible medical advancements over the next few years, and that's going to lead to considerably longer lifespans. This graph shows the percentage of the population in each age bracket in 1950, then in the year 2000, and then the predictions for 2050. As you can see, the 80 and above age bracket is expected to more than triple over the next 50 years. From this, we can tell that our children will need to contend with massive amounts of information, not all of it accurate. They'll need to engage in new and exciting kinds of work that we don't even know about yet, and they'll work over a much longer time period. So, what do we as teachers and parents do about this? How do we prepare our children for this amazing, exciting, challenging, scary future that lies ahead of us? Over the past few years, the education community has acknowledged that old ways of teaching are just not cutting it anymore. We need to start developing 21st century competencies if our children are going to not only survive but thrive in the future. As part of my PhD project, I researched and compiled a 21st century competency framework. In this framework, I've clustered competencies into 5 different areas: analytical skills, interpersonal skills, the ability to execute, information processing skills, and capacity for change. Here at Red Hill, we're going to begin shifting our focus onto developing these 21st century competencies. Every teacher is already working on critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills in their classrooms, but we're going to aim to make these more explicit, accessible, and transferable. We really believe that this is the best way to prepare our students for the future. If I may, I'd like to share 3 ways that you can assist your child in developing these competencies. The first is to provide your child with opportunities to solve their own problems. I so often see parents coming onto the school campus to solve their children's problems for them, whether it's something that's been left at home and needs to be dropped off, or a difficult social situation that's happening. I know this is done with nothing but love and the best intentions. We want nothing but the best for our children, but by stepping in and making sure that everything's okay, we're actually robbing our children of the opportunity to develop their problem-solving capacity. It's so important to take a step back, as difficult as I know that is, and rather be a sounding board, be a voice of reason, but give your child the opportunity to work through problems on their own. Another way that we can assist our children is by adapting our expectations for the changing times. The ways that we achieved and defined success back in our day are not necessarily relevant anymore. We all want our children to have happy, stable, fulfilling university and career paths, but what we might consider as happy and successful and stable careers might not be the same for our children. So many occupations are now looking to psychometric testing rather than degrees when they are looking for new employees. As the world moves more and more quickly, the information that you come in with is far less important than your capacity to learn and adapt and grow in a new profession. The third and final way I'd like to suggest that we can assist our children is by creating a safe space for them to fail. It's so vitally important that our children learn to be creative and curious and risk takers and innovators. And if they are preoccupied with living up to a particular standard or getting a particular result, it detracts from that process. It's so important to allow your child the freedom and the safety to experiment and explore and get things wrong occasionally. One of my favorite quotes is that oops is the sound that we emit when we learn something new. So please, if nothing else, give your child the wonderful gift of a safe space to fail. I really hope that this talk has provided you with some insight into the ways that you can assist your child in preparing for the future. You have a strong partner in us here at Red Hill. We are committed to keeping up with the current research and always doing what is the absolute best for your child. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this, and we look forward to engaging with you on our campus.